Good morning.
Morning, honorable member.
Have we started? Not yet.
Not yet, but it says here, I think we should start.
Okay.
Honorable Deputy Chair.
Deputy Speaker, am I audible now?
Yes, I can hear you from my side, Chair.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to check. Are we maybe the chair, whoever? Then we start with the proceedings.
Yeah,
I will
everyone is
just
here. I
check.
think we should
Yeah,
start.
people are here. Okay, Ralph, take over.
No, I'm saying everyone is here. We can start. We can proceed.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I say we can proceed, correct? Can
Yes,
I
you can
begin?
proceed, sir. Yes, you can proceed.
Okay. Let me greet just first, just quickly say hi to my colleagues, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Foster, Honorable Diale, Honorable Hassan, Honorable Deputy Chair of Committees. Am I missing anyone else here? No, I don't think so. I hope not. Nevertheless, I hope my network doesn't disappoint because I can see there's a bit of a problem. Okay, honorable members. Okay, let us begin. Can we begin by silent prayer and meditation? Thank you so much. Let us proceed to our next item, which was supposed to be the national anthem. But the briefing I got is that the audio is not ready. So we would skip it and then go straight to the opening and welcome address. Welcome by the Deputy Chair of Committees, Honorable Mpapa Kanyane. Can you come in, Honorable Mpapa Kanyane?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Ndate Chilwani. I know I'm faced with challenges in terms of the connectivity, but I'll try to be very brief and extend our sincere welcome to the youth in Gauteng from various corners. And we are meeting here in a different platform, which you call the new normal. And I take it we'll really exploit this to our advantage so that our engagements at the end we are able to see the light. And on that note, I would like also to express the sincere welcome to the Deputy Speaker of the Legislature, the Chairperson of Committees, and also the committee members of the Portfolio Committee of Education. And everybody in the house, you are all welcome. Robust engagement. We wish you interaction so that at the end, we have the resolution that will really be living resolutions. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair of Committees. Can we move to the next speaker? Is the Honorable Deputy Speaker of the Legislature, Honorable Mdlakaza Manamela.
Morning, Chair. Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Deputy Speaker.
Yes, is it my turn? I have a bit of a problem with audio. So is it me now?
Yes,
that's your turn.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Colleagues, good morning, and everybody who's participating today. I'll just go through with you the purpose of this sector parliament and go on to pass my gratitude on behalf of the Speaker and the legislature for the participants, for the youngsters to come and join us and run our parliament today. Representative of Premier of Gauteng, Chairperson of Committees, Honorable Sizakele Nkosi Malobane, Deputy Chair of Committees, Honorable Mpapa Kanyane, MECs present, Chairpersons of Education, Chairperson of Education, Honorable Maduwa Chilwane, MPLs present, honorable members of this House, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to outline the purpose of today's Youth Parliament. We as the Gauteng Provincial Legislature are always trying to keep up with developments around the province and the country. We do this by sustaining engagements with the broad section of society to better understand everyone's views about societal challenges. In that context, today we have convened this Youth Parliament to try and address a very urgent challenge facing the whole world today. The emergence of the COVID-19 virus has become the most pressing issue that the whole world must contend with. In light of this battle against COVID-19 that the world is faced with this Youth Parliament offers us an opportunity to interact with the views of the youth of our province on how best we can manage the healthcare, social, and economic impact of the virus. Our view is that you as young people are not just leaders of tomorrow, you are in fact the duty to think creatively and come up with solutions to challenges of today and not wait until tomorrow. We are all aware of the effects of COVID-19 virus on the functioning of society. We have seen its effect on the youth as the virus has disrupted the normal program of schooling, limited the free movement of people, and severely limited economic activity. We therefore
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
studying and working that the corona has posed upon the world. The purpose of today, therefore, is
Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Deputy Speaker.
in this regard, we have 3 topics that propose an in-depth conversation towards policies aimed at assisting young people as it relates to Gauteng economic prospects for growth,
Deputy Speaker, I think Deputy Speaker was struggling to Honourable members, I think we're losing the Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker? Deputy Speaker? Honourable Manamel? Okay, I think we had Deputy Speaker, I know we had lost, okay, she has, I think the system has kicked her out, she will come back. We had lost her. I think we lost a big chunk of her address. Let's see if she does come back quickly so that she can conclude. Okay, but anyway, I think it's safe to move to the next item, which is the input by a member of the provincial executive. Honourable member, I don't have a name here. Can I check who's going to be representing the provincial executive? Ralph?
I think they're still delayed. We can proceed maybe to the commissions first, and then when they are available, we'll revert back to that item, Chair.
Okay. Okay,
And then
noted.
Ismail will be reading the orders.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's get to then let's move to our first order. Can the secretary please read the first order? Ismail? Ismail? Can the secretary read the first order, please?
Thanks, Chair. I think you're struggling with the connectivity there. I'll proceed. The first order of today is debate on Gauteng's economic prospect for growth post the COVID-19 pandemic, youth entrepreneurship and employment. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have the Honorable Leboko? Honorable Leboko?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chilwani. It is a pleasure that I form part of this parliament to present the notion of Gauteng's economic prospect for growth post the COVID-19 pandemic regarding to youth entrepreneurship and employment to this House. Please allow me to also thank you for the confidence that you've shown in electing me to this position, and especially in this motion. I also wish to reiterate my congratulations to the other MPLs elected. It is a responsibility that we must take very highly and with all the seriousness that it deserves, especially as young people. We must also perform our functions to the best of our ability with diligence and exercise, and the powers bestowed on us impartially with the necessary high ethical standards. There's a general sense that traditional politics and representative democracy fails to attract the attention of young people. This is despite knowing that young people historically have been at the forefront of bringing social and political change in pre- and post-democracy eras. Contrary to many perceptions, the youth of South Africa crave more political information and are invested in the policies that shape their life. While the effects of COVID-19 pandemic have been experienced all over the world and affected various countries in both developed and developing economies, we find ourselves in difficult positions, especially relating to the economy. The world economy has impacted severely by the pandemic. Not only is COVID-19 a pandemic, it has also exposed already existing socio-economic problems such as unemployment and has presented further problems in championing entrepreneurship, especially in regard to young people. Young people in South Africa particularly have been uniquely and disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic in ways that both hinder and reshape their participation in civic life. Unemployment rates for young people in the labor force are the highest ever recorded. Social distancing measures have also inhibited peer-to-peer contact and relationship building among young people, which are also key pathways for civic growth, identity development, employment, and of course, conducting business. In this commission, we will expand more on how entrepreneurship may possibly be encouraged post-COVID-19 and how employment has been threatened or put at a minimum, especially in regard to young people. While many factors can be explored, the factors that will be explored are pivotal to young people. While youth unemployment is at an all-time high, of course, the other members will, explore on that. We need to note that structural unemployment is central to the cause. Structural unemployment, which is caused by fundamental shifts in the economy and factors such as technology, competition, and government policy, are some of its key components. Structural unemployment among the youth especially occurs when young people lack the requisite job skills to carry out priority work in the labor market. It seems that in South Africa, jobs may be available, but there's a serious mismatch between what companies actually need and what young people can offer or are skilled for. A report on the 29th of June 2020 from Stats SA said that employment plunged to 10.2 million on quarter as conditions in the labor market remained sluggish. The statistics agency said the decline was largely due to decreases in trade, construction, and manufacturing industries. In a list of scarce skills among South Africa, these specific industries seem to be overpopulated. While jobs such as boiler making and plumbing, to name a few, are listed as scarce skills, which not a lot of people are skilled to do. With this said, it means one of the contributors to unemployment is that young people do not have priority skills, and two, young people graduate and sit with prestigious degrees, but not necessarily needed skill sets. It is also very important to note that unemployment especially affects the Black or African youth population. So this means that this is a socio-economic problem. While government intervenes or has interventions such as Buy Local, and which aim to empower young people and local manufacturers, factors such as free trade continues to pose a threat on local manufacturing, especially among young people who do not have the capacity to produce in competition with global manufacturers. Free trade is a trade policy that does not restrict imports or exports. It can also be understood as the free market idea applied to international trade. We, as young people, call on the government to reduce the total percentage of imports and exports. In minimizing tariff-free trade, we give an opportunity to young people who play in these specific sectors. The impact of COVID-19 has been devastating for small businesses. I think we can agree, especially small businesses of every kind, even around the world. From loss of business entirely to finding ways to shift to e-commerce rapidly, young entrepreneurs in South Africa are being forced to adapt fast. Perhaps government-initiated intervention programs should start incubating entrepreneurs and providing such a skill set. The honorable members of this parliament will also then continue to identify barriers in unemployment, entrepreneurship. They will identify other existing state interventions and provide possible recommendations to charter this motion. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Leboko, for that moving input. Can we move to Honorable Funeka?
Thank you, Chair. I greet all protocols that have been gracing us with this presence through the Sector Youth Parliament. Honorable members, my name is Lerato Funeka. I'm a young person within the Sedibeng region. The central policy goal of the South African government is to accelerate inclusive growth and create jobs. Its main fiscal objective is to ensure sustainable finances by containing the budget deficit and stabilizing public debt. Now, government is implementing growth-enhancing reforms in line with President Cyril Ramaphosa's economic stimulus and recovery plan, which aims to, among other things, ignite economic activity, restore investor confidence, prevent further job losses, and create much-needed jobs. In aid to achieve its great prospects, government has introduced different initiatives that will speak to building a strong economical sphere within South Africa. These initiatives involve topical engagements from different stakeholders, such as the National Youth Development Agency, which is currently busy with a campaign to register 1,000 youth-owned businesses within 100 days. And to date, they have held a workshop to encourage young people to engage in business, where regulations have eased in allowing for physical interactions. Within Midvaal, I have observed that the NYDA has interacted with young people from two areas, namely the Vaal Marina area, where 20 young people have been identified, which will be registering 4 cooperatives, and also in the Merton Park area, where young people will be registering private-owned businesses. Furthermore, government has introduced a special COVID-19 social relief distress grant, which is 350 to be paid to young people that are unemployed. 500 billion has been budgeted for massive social relief and economic support package. Young people now have access actually to the Harambee job portal free of charge without having to use their data. We need to create platforms where young people can engage with such platforms through the TSEPA 1 million program that is currently being spearheaded by the Office of the Premier. The government has zeroed in on youth unemployment, but the coronavirus pandemic threatens to leave young people even more vulnerable than before this pandemic. Now, part of the initiative that government has initiated is that the UIF Commissioner has planned to fund 10% of their assets to fund job creation by the year 2025, which will be creating approximately 5,000 jobs. And the compensation fund plans to create a further 7,000 jobs through its investments by the year 2025. There's been an increase in informal trading through the pandemic period, where young people have started creating opportunities and revitalizing in local economy through the creation of suitable safety masks, running of local delivery services, especially for the elderly. With regards to informal trading, a scenario to look into would be the Sebenza Mbokotho program initiated by the Midvaal local municipality. I put it to you that government needs to recognize already existing programs and design exit strategies to meet the current needs of young people across all borders. Majorly recognize the growing need to approach industry in the Sedibeng region and take advantage of already existing opportunities that just need proper public-private relationships. In this light, it has come to my attention that there's only so much jobs that government can create. Thus, it is crucial for youth-owned businesses to be a priority factor in ensuring growth in the economy of the country going forth post-COVID. To meet the voice of young people, government has initiated platforms such as charity-based organizations that currently feed into the local COVID-19 war rooms and citizen-based interactions such as the sector parliament that we are currently interacting on, and which will speak to the current state of relationships that we have with the young people on the ground. We as a sector parliament, we put it to government to look into putting more effort into developing regions as much as the current state of metros has been the forefront of government. As a country, young people need to be holders of change in these hard times and ensure that opportunities meet the needs of young people. Thank you for the privilege of allowing us to be part of this and also to being the voice of young people across South Africa. I thank you, Chair, for this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Funeka. Can we get Honorable Tindi? Honorable Tindi?
Good morning, Chair. Hello, good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, honorable members. I would like to thank you for this opportunity to present my case. My name is Nokolo Tindi from Ekurhuleni. Expanding on the topic discussed in our commission, Statistics South Africa show that unemployment in youth sits at 40% in the whole of South Africa. Numbers are increasing by the day since the COVID-19 pandemic hit, leaving numbers of South Africans and youth unemployed, both educated and non-educated. Currently, Gauteng is rated second highest with a percentage of 28.9%. Most of young people who are unemployed resorted to crime and corruption, latest being food parcel theft. However, there is a silver lining. There is substantial number of youth members who are willing and embarking on entrepreneurship, attempting to alleviate poverty and be able to put food on the table. In my township, Davidson, there is an ice cream business that blossomed after level 3 was announced by the president. I believe with the proper funding, this business can expand and in turn employ many young people who are in need of employment. Having said that, we as the youth leaders in our respective communities can concur that funding agencies like NYDA, Gauteng Youth Propeller, to name a few, are inaccessible to the young entrepreneurs who want to source funding to them. Let me substantiate my point by providing an action. In my area, we established a forum which our core belief is that we start initiatives ourselves rather than depend solely on the government. One of our major sectors is entrepreneurship. We organized a business day. Participants availed themselves, hoping to engage with the agencies and local government. While inviting these agencies, we did not get a positive response. And for local government, we had to know someone who knows someone to even extend an invite. We do not have offices in townships where entrepreneurs can go to apply for funding and get support from these funders to make their business a success. Furthermore, their online platforms are not user-friendly. By this I mean someone who is not computer literate or has limited access to the internet to be able to get information they need or be even approved for funding. This then poses a problem to entrepreneurs who already have their businesses up and running and therefore require more funding to expand their businesses. Let's face it, if a business makes just enough to enable the entrepreneur to survive, how helpful is it then to the community or the government in order to eradicate unemployment, which is one of the major aspects that contributes negatively to the economy of the country? I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Tindi. Can we have Honorable Nzima? Honorable Nzima.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Honorable Chair and members, I greet you all this lovely morning. I am Petunia Nzima from Ekurhuleni, and I will be addressing the challenges we face in youth entrepreneurship. Young people will be tasked with dealing with issues that have existed long before the coronavirus had affected us. As young people, we are forced to deal with generational inequalities and prehistoric problems like entrepreneurship skills among us as Black people. Whether we like it or not, apartheid has continued to impact how we do businesses and how we continue if we do not address this, and it will continue if we do not address issues pertaining youth unemployment. Our forefathers had no skills to teach us. It's up to us as young people to learn these entrepreneurial skills so that we are therefore able to instill these qualities in our children. I will therefore highlight a few of these challenges. The lack of collaboration among stakeholders in bringing skills development programs to the youth. The basic education system is failing us and needs to be readjusted to meet the current needs of our country and economy. Why do we still have subjects like life orientation when children around the world are being taught entrepreneurship from foundation phases? The higher learning institutions continue to offer degrees and diplomas that have become useless to us as young people. We are being offered a grant of 350 rands as an unemployment grant. Are we being offered this because government does not believe in our creativity as young people? Or are we being offered this because there is simply no hope for entrepreneurship amongst the unemployed young people in this country? It's programs like these, including the EPWP and the NYDA, that have not made any reasonable advances like the policies in these agencies need to change. Most successful businesses that did not start with a business plan have become successful. Why are these agencies still making it difficult to access funding? This creates a low entrepreneurship spirit amongst young people. These are questions we should be addressing. Despite the fact that some of these issues we were faced with before the pandemic, we need quick resolutions to these challenges. As companies will migrate to new ways of doing things, it will be difficult for the employment rate to increase, thus meaning that the workforce will be replaced by robotics and apps. The world is making advances towards the fifth industrial revolution. We are still trying to figure out the fourth industrial revolutions. This means the jobs will not be as high as anticipated. The lack of financial assistance to sustain businesses. We are not saying that the government should continue to pump money into businesses that's not doing well, like example they did with the SAA and ESCOM. But they should at least meet us halfway. Tenders are being given to people who know people and not young people who qualify to meet the requirements of the tender, like the PPE tenders. Lack of mentorship programs in the national mentorship movement are not known to young people, but instead we are being fed with so many foundations that have done nothing for youth entrepreneurship and development. Young Black emerging entrepreneurs, mostly from townships, will find it difficult now that we are in the fourth industrial revolution. Many SMMEs are on the verge of collapse. When we enter into the fifth industrial revolution, it will cause disruption in a number of sectors of the economy and many youth entrepreneurs, because South Africa, as South Africans, we are always unprepared. There is no easily accessible incubation programs by the government, more especially in the agricultural sector. Institutionalization of culture of entrepreneurship, it needs urgent attention. Thank you for the opportunity and your time, honorable members.
Thank you so much, Honorable Nzima. Let me welcome Honorable Makubela. I can see he has joined us. Can we have Honorable Pueng? Honorable Pueng. Honorable Pueng? Is Honorable Pueng here?
Chairman of the session.
Okay, thank you. You can come in.
Itumeleng Mavuso here, Chairperson of Commission 2. I just received a message from Honorable Pueng, Palot Pueng. He is having challenges connecting to the meeting, but I have just forwarded him the correct link to connect. So I should think in a few minutes you should be able to connect. Thank you.
Okay. Let me just check if the Honorable Pueng is not connected yet. Okay. Now we will come back to Honorable Pueng. According to Rule 77.7, we're going to open it up for other honorable members, not those who are on the speaking list. I will take only 4, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes each, so be precise to the point. Please, I know that you are all politicians here, so don't. I don't want preambles. No preambles, because 2 minutes will be done by the time you're finished making an introduction. So straight to the point. I can see Honorable Tando Mabaso's hand is up. Are there other honorable members who want to also speak to this issue? You
Yes,
can
Chair.
just speak. Honorable Tulani Malat.
Chair.
Is that
Sanele
okay?
San. Yes, Chair.
Okay, okay. Wait. I must write here. Okay, it's fine. It's who and who?
Sanele Sotana, Honorable.
Chair.
Yeah. Yeah, let me write down because yeah, it's Honorable, I said Honorable Tando, and then Honorable Sanele, ne?
Yes, Chair.
And who else?
Wisdom,
Honorable Wisdom, and there was another one in between. Honorable
Blackie.
Blackie. Okay. Is there, maybe let me just be a good person. Is there another one last? I was supposed to take 4.
Yes, Chair.
Oh, yes.
Honorable Enoch Ngobeni.
Okay, Honorable Enoch. Okay. All right. I'm going to give each of yourselves, honorable members, 2 minutes each to speak to this issue. Like I said, no preambles, please. Just straight to the point. 2 minutes is not a lot of time. And mind you, this is what we get allocated as well in the legislature on a full-time basis: 1 minute, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So please use it effectively. Honorable Tando, you have the platform.
Greetings, Chair. Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, definitely. Yeah, just be closer to your mic to be more audible.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now it's much better.
Okay, I would like to greet Chairperson and the honorable members of Parliament. I had Honorable Nzima talking about
Honorable Tando, we're losing you. Yes. Honorable Tando, I think the system kicked her out. She'll come back. Can you move to Honorable Sanele, please?
Honorable Chair, greetings.
Good morning. Morning.
I rise on Rule 77.7, adding on the recommendations with regards to development and support on youth-owned businesses, with the belief that a catalyzed market linkage to promote a demand to products produced by young entrepreneurs. In this vein, a strategy of leveraging public and private procurement to support youth-owned businesses should be developed. The Department of Public Enterprise should coordinate efforts to open opportunities for enterprise and develop for young people in the state-owned companies. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Sanele. Can we have Honorable Wisdom? Honorable Wisdom? Okay, maybe it's network connectivity challenges as well. Can we have Honorable Plagi, please?
Honorable Plagi, greetings to all honorable members. Am I audible, honorables?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, thank you for giving me this privilege just to voice out my opinion on this topic. The topic that we are on in today that is very vital. Then one thing I would like to emphasize here in this minute left is that it is said that this lockdown, which resulted in a total shutdown of 3 months, it has resulted in a heavy struck companies. The companies which in South Africa, they are very struck by this lockdown. So they said in last week only the number of companies announced plans to retrench staff from aviation to construction, from entertainment and leisure to hospitality companies. They have indicated their intention to return staff because of the heavy losses incurred over the past 3 months. So in other cases, businesses are closing permanently. Small businesses whose turnover has been wiped out, they will be even hardly hit. So I'm saying as a young parliament, we should address issues in terms of how we are going to re-employ people after post-COVID-19, because there will be change of strategy as companies migrate to artificial intelligence and robotics. Thank you for the view. Then we are tackling unemployment and the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Plagi. Can I have Honorable Enoch, please? Enoch Ngobeni.
Chairperson, I think on the first topic, Chair, I am of a view that acquisition of skills as one of the means of change, it's one of the key issues of addressing the current state that we are in economically, Chairperson, because looking at the current state we think that economic transformation, Chairperson, will be one of the solutions to address the issue of unemployment. But pardon?
No, hold on, Honorable Ngobeni. Yes, when you just disrupt, yes, you are. Honorable Member. Honorable Member? Okay, Honorable Ngobeni, you can proceed. You have muted. Honorable Ngobeni, you have muted. Unmute. Enoch? Honorable Enoch. Honorable Enoch. Honorable Enoch.
Chairperson. Chairperson.
Definitely. Hello, honorable member.
I think Mr. Enoch has muted himself and is unaware of that fact.
Yeah, I'm trying to alert him. I don't think he knows that.
Can someone quickly give him a call and just make him aware of that particular fact?
Honorable Enoch, you have muted yourself. Unmute your mic so that we can hear you. We can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Am I audible now, Chairperson?
Yeah, for the past 2 minutes that you have lost, you were speaking and nobody had anything.
Oh, my humble apology. I'll try to be brief, Chairperson.
Okay.
Chairperson, I'll start in the middle so that I can save time. Presiding officer and honorable members, education should stimulate economic growth. Although in the current circumstances, the demand for a skilled labor force far exceeds the supply and availability of skilled people within the economic sector. Yes, we might have grown up in an environment that is not conducive, where there are poor infrastructural development and with lack of resources, or might come from previously disadvantaged places. We need to note and acknowledge that the fourth industrial revolution is here to stay then. As the country, we need to come up with solutions as to how the country can adapt to the fourth industrial revolution and can be as compatible as other countries. Honorable Chairperson, we need to note that this pandemic has affected the lives of many people in the country, and majority being young people. The solution to the aforementioned issues are job creation, skills development, introduction of more CASI labs in townships, building of more NYDA branches across the province, and building more of technical schools so that young people get to learn technical schools at a young age. We need to also ask ourselves the following question, and also our government should ask this question to say whether are young people unemployed or unemployable. If government can be able to address this question, then we'll be able to address some of the problems and challenges that are faced by young people in the province. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ngobeni. Honorable Wisdom, are you back? That Honorable Wisdom. Okay. Honorable Wisdom is falling off. Let me give you Honorable Tando an opportunity because she got cut off. So Honorable Tando, you can come in, you can finish off your input so that we can move.
Greetings, Chair, and all the honorable members of the Parliament. I'm failing to open my camera, but can you hear me?
Yes, it's okay. You can leave it. Perhaps it's one of the things that is disrupting your network.
What do you say that
was talking about
we had an agreement, so you must fulfill your own part of the report.
she said that government shouldn't be giving youth 350. Rather, she should help them with businesses. What I think is not one's for business. There are people who are graduates who are looking for job opportunities. They need this 350 to apply for certain position that they've uh, they've acquired through their schooling. So not everyone is made for business. There are people who need to apply for certain places. So this 350 will help them in so many ways. I think you say.
Thank you, Honorable Tando. Thank you so much, honorable members. We had stopped on Honorable Pueng. We got an apology in between that the honorable member was struggling to connect. Is the honorable member has he or she been able to connect, Honorable Pueng? Honorable Pueng? Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
I'm here, Chair. My sincerest apologies as I was struggling to connect, but I'm in now. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, proceed.
I greet all honorable members of the council today and the presiding chair in the name of socio-economic transformation through youth entrepreneurship and employment. So, as we have discussed in a nutshell as a commission, that the rate of unemployment is a nightmare in the continent and in the country, and the potential of a key solution or instrument towards that is youth entrepreneurship. With regards to employability and entrepreneurship, the first step of recommendations that we must take is financial literacy as a compulsory subject of learning in the basic education level, so that our entrepreneurs have awareness of entities like SARS, SIDA, Department of Trade Industry, to mention a few. Second point, the soft and hard skills plays an important role in developing managerial leadership in young Black entrepreneurs. That can be done through SETA programs, short courses and training through skills development sector. Number three, upgrading of policies and regulation with government agencies that represents youth entrepreneurship into the new era of technology and fourth industrial revolution. Now, SMMEs as the potential are a key instrument to eradicating the inequalities, class contradictions, and poverty. However, SMMEs can set a deserving satisfaction threshold for economic transformation by making it certain that all startup entrepreneurs and existing or feasible young entrepreneurs understands financial literacy at administration, computer and software design literacy instead of computer literacy only, and leadership skills. After climbing the ladder of success as managers of such businesses or professionals in their particular sector, they must be able to now stretch the leadership muscle so as to use it in the business in the right manner and be transferable as skills to the coming generation after them. Number four, collaboration of SMMEs with government, NGOs, and NPOs can assist in closing the accessibility of information by improving infrastructure within the rural areas of Gauteng and boost their economy, build mobile offices of the government agencies like the NYDA, SIDA, and etc. Unlike putting one office in a local municipality where there's no awareness of the office because it is within the barriers of the municipality. So rather be a visible branding outside institutions or in the township that says at that corner on your right, there's an NYDA office, for example, And that grows responsibility in leadership and professionalism, because you are able now to see that I'm the one who's not reaching out to get assistance that I need to be able to be competent as a business. So knowledge in training, leadership, financial literacy, technology, upskilling of the primary qualifications so that qualifications are not rendered common is very important. That will assist the government agencies, NPOs and NGOs in coordinating the data of SMMEs. And in that manner, I think a rand can be able to be leveraged in such a way that it circulates on the basis that we are fit as the youth to run into this business sector and employment with the skills that are required in due course. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Ballot. Can we get the Chair, Honorable Deboko, to close for us?
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair Chilwani. Having heard all the speakers' contribution in motion to Gauteng's economic prospect for growth post the COVID-19 pandemic and regarding to youth entrepreneurship and employment, further recommendations also include that the state needs to ensure and lead massive and protected sustainable industrial development and diversification to create decent jobs for young people. This will only happen through state-led industrialization, industrial diversification, the protection of micro and existing industries, the transfer of ownership to the minority groups through subsidies, and an increase in tariffs and state-aided marketing and promotion of South African products internally, across the continent and worldwide, with a focus on young people, of course, as trading partners. Further, the state needs to ensure that a minimum of at least 80% of goods and services procured at all levels and at all state companies are domestically produced, giving priority to young people. We also ask that the state must build domestic capacity by restricting free trade that allows global manufacturers to flourish and compete with youth manufacturers, putting small-scale businesses out of business. We also propose that the state create incentives for young people to enter for priority or scarce job markets. Lastly, we also propose that the education system needs to teach entrepreneurship as a basic learning outcome. Our education system is responsible for preparing young people to build successful lives. Therefore, our basic education system should be solution-based in this regard. In conclusion, Chair, young people will need assistance and commitment from the state, and we wish to receive this by these stated recommendations. I wish to take this opportunity to thank all presiding officers, observe all protocol, and thank the members of this parliament. I present our motions for your consideration and further for adoption. I thank you.
My apology, honorable members. Honorable members.
Yes, Mr.
Yes, yeah, no, the system kicked me out.
Yeah, we're with you, Chair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, honorable members. Can I get a seconder for the motion?
Lerato Funeka, I second the motion for the commission number 1. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Can I then call for those who second the motion to say yes?
Yes.
Motion
Yes.
seconded, yes.
Sendisiwe Mianga?
Yes.
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 Yes, we
Yes.
second the motion.
Second the
thank
motion.
you. And then
Ballot
all,
seconds.
and all those who oppose the motion say no. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The yes have it. Can we move to the second order, Secretary? Ishmael, is Ishmael here now?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The second order is debate response of the Gauteng Provincial towards COVID-19 health care delivery and social behavior for the youth, for the young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Can we have the first speaker, the chair of the chair, Honorable Mavuso?
Greetings, Chairperson, and greetings to fellow honorable members. And I thank you for the opportunity to present the report that we have came up with together with my fellow commission members in outlining the most effective ways in which the Gauteng department can approach the healthcare issues and also the behavior issues in the province. Chairperson, let me be brief, as you have indicated that we should strictly be on time. So on the 30th of July 2020, which was yesterday, Gauteng had 60,513 active cases of COVID-19, with our recovery standing at 111,061. And we had 3,205 new COVID cases, and also the province recorded 156 new COVID-19 deaths. So currently in our hospitals in Gauteng, we have 5,476 admitted COVID-19 patients with plus or minus 50 patients in ICU and plus or minus 50 patients on ventilators. The Gauteng province has 50 hospitals and 50 clinics and plus or minus 10,000 healthcare workers. And we have a population of at least 15 people in the province, as we are the most populated province in the country. Moving on, millions of livelihoods have been infected hugely by COVID-19. For example, schools, trading in both formal and informal sector, and basic services and access to service delivery. So the global pandemic has been an unprecedented impact on our healthcare system, particularly our province, with far-reaching social consequences. So, Chairperson, tightening the laws and security on the number of gatherings in malls and complexes to limit the spread of COVID-19 is what, as a commission, we have come up with. And also to say that these disruptions impact learning and access to nutrition, which are both essential to one's health. The food parcels that were given to people at the beginning of the pandemic. Chairperson?
Okay, you can proceed. You can proceed, Honorable Chair.
Okay. So, as we all know that at the beginning of the pandemic in March, our provincial government issued out a number of food parcels to a large number of rural areas in our community. So that led to young people, but the issue was that not all people were able to access these food parcels. So that led to young people going out to hustle on the streets to put food on the table, which increases their chances of being infected with COVID-19. South Africa being one of the most unequal countries, we cannot deny the fact that the pandemic has exposed many socio-economic imbalances in our society. While it is also true that we had inherited many of these paradigms from our oppressive history, but now is the time to strengthen the country and make progressive strides in fighting these challenges. So, Chairperson, this report and fellow honorable members, this report will be looking at challenges that are faced by the healthcare system, the health of our health workers who are at the forefront in fighting this pandemic, the health of our communities during this pandemic, and also the societal behaviors in our communities during the pandemic. I hand over to my fellow honorable member, Udimpo Mulakeng, who will further elaborate on the report. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mavuso. Can we have Honorable Msomi? Honorable Mavuso, can you mute? Okay. Honorable Msomi? Can we have Honorable Msomi, please?
I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning as well.
I can't seem to put on the video part.
No, it's okay.
Okay, can I continue with that? Okay.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. The health province has the health regarding health. The province and the world have never experienced such a pandemic post the HIV massacre. We could not have been better prepared. However, given that this virus has made known to countries in mid-November last year, efforts to combat this pandemic could have been more vigorous at an earlier stage. We have seen that creating uniform rules for provinces has not worked in the most for the challenges that we've been experiencing. The Gauteng Department of Health has faced many challenges in responding to emerging needs of COVID-19 brought by COVID-19, which has overwhelmed the health system with more and more people seeking medical attention due to the virus. Our health facilities have been battling to meet basic service delivery requirements. This is evident in the shortages of beds and medical equipment, medical stockouts and understaffing, and non-COVID patients have been neglected by the system. Gender-based violence victims, mental health patients, family planning patients, the majority of which are young women. In this, it is a fact that many young people with mental health illnesses are experiencing a deterioration of their health statuses. This can be attributed to a prolonged social isolation, anxiety, uncertainty, and rising levels of stress. Mental health should be an issue at the public healthcare service providers should attend to be sensitive towards mental health patients. Victims of rape and gender-based violence are not receiving proper, adequate help from the healthcare system because of the shift which has led to neglecting other health issues. Accessing contraceptives and chronic medication is extremely hard at this point due to the urgent nature of dealing with a global health crisis, where we are concerned that pooling of health resources towards COVID-19 leaves a societal pandemics unchecked and exposed. Proper planning, coordination, and mobilization should have been at the forefront. The issue of screening and and contact tracing has been a challenge in Gauteng since the beginning of the outbreak. Some communities up to this day have not yet screened for COVID-19 or have health professionals educate and inform them about this pandemic and ways to prevent the spread. There are lack of proper planning and coordination of healthcare workers and adequate distribution of PPEs. We have seen an alarming shortages of equipment such as protective gear, oxygen, ventilators, beds, and medical staff. These are recurring issues that could have been actively addressed long before this pandemic. The Department of Health failed to engage and mobilize communities to help limit the exposure to this virus. Healthcare centers are typically not suited for dealing with the influx of patients, including isolating and testing. People in the rural areas have to walk long distances to get access to any healthcare. Those same healthcare workers are at higher risk of exposing their families and communities to this virus. The type of masks being produced causes many people discomfort, and it's close to impossible to keep the mask on for a long period of time. It causes headaches, which could be in the form of inhaling the carbon dioxide that is resulted in respiration problems. This in turn disrupts the people's eyesight and then affects the people who already have breathing problems. The health department should focus on the access of health and in informal settlements, make reusable masks available to everyone, and rural areas in providing them with necessary civic education and knowledge about COVID-19. In many parts of our country, these regulations are not adhered to due to lack of knowledge and understanding of what this killer virus brings. I thank you, Chair. I hand over to the next speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Can we have Honorable Mulakeng?
Thank you, Presiding Officer, and greetings to the Presiding Officer, the Honorable Chairpersons, and Honorable Members at Large, and the Gauteng residents. I'm going to present the behavioral solutions. Government needs to be more transparent and come with solutions to minimize the spread of this virus. During this pandemic, more clinics are the most practical solutions to reach out to communities, youth and the elderly, since clinics will bring much more needed healthcare to the people, like contraceptives for the youth, HIV testing, chronic medication for the elderly. This will also reduce the movement of people in public. Transportation where they need food together with no distancing and influx of patients in hospitals where they are dealing with COVID-19 patients. Mobile clinics are also to reach rural areas in townships where there are no nearby clinics and assist communities with health and care they need and information about this pandemic. Government should hire more health workers and use youth as ground brigades with training provided. Posters and pamphlets should be another form of gathering news out to more have access to smartphones and television, as the only platform used are social medias and television. Since the outbreak, the government has shown that they can reach so better communication is needed to connect with many communities. Lack of communication can lead to greater outbreaks of the virus. To minimize overcrowding, churches to house women with gender-based violence, to allow pastors, psychologists, social workers to provide counseling. The community health workers are not referring patients whenever they need to be seen by nurses and doctors. Thus, they must be trained. Clinics shut down in 2 weeks due to quarantine for COVID-19 infections, inconveniences. patients that are sick with needing medical attention. Having more filled hospitals is needed. With more filled hospitals come with more workers who are going to work at hospitals to look after patients. Mobile clinics can also be used to book appointments to higher level of care. Create community chat groups to alert another when gender-based violence attacks backfall. Since we are having groups of COVID-19, we must also have groups of chronic diseases, including diabetes, hypertension, asthma, and epilepsy, amongst others, to name a few. Raise awareness about gender-based violence, mental health in Gauteng, establish focus groups and mental health in both perpetrators and victims, because living in scheduled places like Siropisa Benya in Sebokeng, as an example, because they are outside basic facilities. Contribute to stress, depression, and mental illness. Develop an app for gender-based violence with a button for any victim to press during the attack to alert the communities and police if they are in danger. Presiding officer, I will end there and hand over back to the chairperson and to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable again. Can we have Honorable Rampa?
Honorable Chair,
Yes,
Honorable
I can
members,
hear
fellow
you.
South Africans and youth in particular, I greet you. I'm Honorable Masego Rampa, and I'll expand on the behavioral responses to the pandemic. People's social behavior towards this virus, even after it has proven to be deadly, with number of people dying and infections increasing rapidly, is still ignorant, and they continue to disregard regulations. We are also facing another pandemic in our communities, which is alcohol and tobacco addiction. People disregarding regulations because of their burning desires to drink and smoke. Some of the challenges that we have noted are population. The Gauteng province is home to more than 15 million people, and according to the 2020 mid-year population estimates, this province has the largest share of South Africa's population at 26%. It becomes increasingly difficult to practice social distancing in overpopulated environments, such as informal settlements in many of our communities. Another one being accessibility. It is difficult to prioritize things such as hand wash, sanitizers, and masks when one is living hand to mouth. Economically, most households must deal with the loss of income. Therefore, they are forced to choose between supporting their families and protecting themselves against infection. Non-compliance. In rural communities, we find that people do not adhere to the rules and regulations. People are still not wearing their masks. They are standing in corners in close proximity. They are playing soccer in dusty streets. Taxis have gone back to 100% capacity, which in turn means that zero social distancing is practiced, with noting that there's a 10% increase in the taxi fare. People still have social gatherings, especially funerals where they exceed 50, and further do not sanitize, wear masks, or maintain the social distance of 1.5 meters. Alcohol promotes social gatherings, and in turn, these social gatherings promote the spread of the COVID-19 and disorderly conduct, where people end up injured and needing medical assistance in hospitals that are already flooded with COVID-19 patients. Tobacco poses a health risk. It damages the lungs. So as a smoker, if you get infected with COVID-19, it attacks the already damaged lungs, which decreases your chances of survival. I'll now hand over to Honorable Malinga to speak on the proposed solutions. Thank you very much, Chair. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Rampa. It's my job to identify the next speaker, Honorable Rampa.
Apologies.
So you're forgiven. My job. Can we have Honorable Malinga?
Greetings to the House at large.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Greetings to the House at large. This is Honorable Minentle Malinga. So as a commission, we came with solutions that when the pandemic hit, the government came up with a plan by introducing lockdown, but big mistakes were made as the province was did not involve every stakeholder on board, NGOs and NPOs. to mobilize and continue to be a shoulder of support to the communities in need. It is very hard to teach them via social media, but that seems not to be enough. Therefore, education is dire. It needs things like pamphlets, loud telling, going to streets and malls. People can start doing the simple things like washing of hands, sanitizing, wearing masks when they leave their houses, and spreading the word about COVID-19 and encouraging one another to stay at home and follow regulations to stay safe. The media needs to be honest and transparent when it comes to reporting COVID cases. Interview people infected and survivors. This includes nurses in the front line to show real cases that are actually affecting their next door neighbors. Those that don't want to be quarantined, government should use community halls as the closest quarantine facilities for the people. Reinstating the ban for taxis to operate at 70% capacity is of paramount importance. Information packs and educational pamphlets need to be tailored to a specific region and location so that people will know where to find the relevant help in their own community or neighboring communities. Burial regulations need to be tightened as well. Close all known places where people gather. This includes parks, stadiums, unless they are permitted by government to operate. People can be hired to give or deliver the chronic medication to the patients at home. This will minimize the influx of people to clinics and hospitals and decrease the pressure on health workers and decrease the spread of COVID-19. As I submit to you, Presiding Officer and Chairman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Malinga. Thank you. You can mute now. Okay. Now we're going to that our open time according using rule 7.7. As I've done in the earlier order, my target is 4. So can I get hands for other honorable members who want to contribute to this order?
Honorable Chair.
Okay. It's your name?
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Wait. I understand that because of communication challenges. So I have Sizo Lwenkosi. Who's the next one?
Sanele,
Chair.
Okay, let me wait. You have spoken, you had an engagement in the prior one, but let me note you for now. Okay, who else?
Lerato Funeka.
Honorable.
Lerato. And then there's
Honorable Chair.
Sindisiwe Mnyaka.
Sindisiwe.
Xaba Thembelihle.
Sindisiwe and Xaba. Is it Xaba?
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
Yes.
That's okay. I know you all want to contribute, but you can't. Thank you so much. All right, Sizo Lwenkosi, you can start. Honorable Sizo Lwenkosi.
Honorable Chair, thank you so much. Honorable Chair, I'd like to rise to the rule 77.7, and this will be my recommendations that I would like to point out. According to the YFM radio station, they say that 25.3% of women have experienced gender-based violence, and that only 3.9% have reported such claims. So, my leader, this is where I start my recommendation, is to say that we need to really emphasize more solutions towards supporting programs that address gender-based violence within the country. My recommendation is that we need to have established ward-based support centers that will support gender-based violence victims, as well as a solution of communication that allows us using technology to communicate with the police station nearby. I submit. Thank you, leadership.
Thank you, honourable member. Can we have, let me give Honourable Sanele because I already pointed him. Honourable Sanele, you can come in.
Okay, thank you, Honourable Chair. With what has been reported, I'm noting that our normal way of doing things, the latter one was killing us slowly but surely. Now that we are in the COVID-19, things are becoming visible. I will then submit my points with regards to mental health issues specifically. As to that, there need to be an increased awareness in critical counseling services for children, specifically adolescents and youth, including the youth in disadvantaged and rural communities. Yet again, also, Chair, community-based mental health institutions should be provided with the facilities, and that provide these services should be given names that do not attract the stigmas with regards to patient. Also, Chair, with regards to the Department of Health partnering with the TVET sectors or universities for young people to be able to consult doctors. By so saying, the institutions of higher learning can have permanent doctors that will work within the institutions for young people to go direct to them and stop going to clinics, and that will also minimize the scourge of them not going to get the so-called contraceptives and so forth. Also, lastly, it is important to view the mental health issues broadly, Chair, and consider how it links with high level of gender-based violence, drug abuse, suicide, crime, experience of racism, and so forth, Chair, because it shows that before we can address issues that are coming with COVID-19, we need to address issues that we are living under before the COVID-19. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Sanele. Can we have Honourable Lerato, please?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Chair, I'll be as brief as possible. Mine is on three issues. The first one is that we need to identify the reason behind the stigma in relation to health workers mistreating COVID-related patients. And we need to create a post-COVID counseling program that will assist victims that are still in fear of this pandemic to ensure that as communities we come together in beating this pandemic and ensure that we remain indoors if it's not necessary for us to go outdoors. That community-based health workers be capacitated with skills and ensure that young people within these institutions are spearheaded support structures that would be able to ensure that this post-COVID, we do not have such issues that were in relation to us not being able to physically meet, and we are able to use the fourth industrial revolution to meet communities and ensure active participation from communities abroad. Lastly, that we need to at least have facilities that are area-based where issues such as GBV can be reported, people know exactly where to report COVID cases, where employers are not meeting the regulations, and we ensure that we work together in beating this pandemic. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Rato. Can we have Honourable Cindy Siwe?
I thank you, Chair. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello. Okay. Thank you. I would have loved to share my honorable members have already cemented all that I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Kaba.
Afternoon, Chair and members. I would like to point out the thing about the burial regulations that need to be tightened. In our communities, yes, there are 50 people going to the graveyard, but after the graveyard, there is a second funeral happening at the home of the deceased, where people then gather. And the sole reason that they are gathering is because they know at the funeral there's going to be food, and they know that they don't have to cook because they are in poverty. So if they eat at the funeral, they do not have to cook, and they therefore have more food to go on. So I think they should guard both at the cemetery and at the homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kaba. That is the end of our open time. Can we have Honorable Mavuso?
Thank you, Chairperson, and also greetings once again to all fellow honorable members. And with the brief time remaining, Chairperson, one thing we would like to add is that the youth, being the majority of the population, should be utilized and engaged to assist with the pandemic in our respective communities. And we as the youth are pleading with the government to use the funds located for this pandemic to help the people who are hardest hit by this pandemic and strengthening the healthcare system and their people. So to try and also meet the growing demands of the people of Gauteng, the provincial government could make a case for an increased equitable share from the national government. This would help our departments and especially our health system to keep up with the delivery of services in the local sphere. We know that this equitable share was reduced in February in the February national budget, and then was slightly increased again in the supplementary budget that was released recently. But maybe a more proportionate increase to the provinces would help to realize the fundamental socio-economic issues. And the reprioritizations from the Provincial Department of Health stands at 2.1 billion and 786 million towards emergency COVID-19 responses. Many of these responses include the building of field hospitals and PPEs. The concern is that as much as these measures are responding to an emergency, they are temporary in nature and do not enhance the health system in the long run. While we also mourn those who have passed on, you have the duty as government to lead society in efforts to curb the pandemic and address the related economic and social implications. Apologies. Okay. And in order that we address these challenges in an integrated manner, we have developed the COVID-19 response plan that is aimed at fighting the spread of this pandemic by reducing infection, particularly in cluster outbreaks, while at the same time addressing the associated economic and social challenges in the Gauteng region. We have seen that the provincial adjustments, budget speech, and also budget speech and also infrastructure budget. It was a fundamental enabler and the delivery of services, creating job opportunities and economic growth and development. We have a long road ahead of us. The people of South Africa expect their government to use this revenue in an apt manner. The measures taken need to be directly directed not only at the emerging needs of the pandemic, but also foster sustainability through developmental foresight. I submit to you, members. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Can I have a seconder for the motion? No.
No, I wish to second the motion.
What's your name, honorable member?
Tando Mabaso.
Oh, okay, thank you, honorable Mabaso.
I Tando Mabaso the motion.
Okay, you second. Thank you. I heard you. Thank you so much. Can all those in favor say yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, thank you so much. Can all those not in favor say no? Okay, the yes have it. The report is adopted. Thank you. Can we move to the third order, Secretary?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Debate on the role of the Gauteng Department of Education to addressing the youth unemployment through skill development. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Okay, thank you. Not noted. Thank you. Can we have the first speaker, the chair, Honorable Miaga? Honorable Miaga? Miaga.
Good morning.
Morning, we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, my fellow honorable members and chair. It is with great pleasure.
Honorable Miaga, we can't hear you. Honorable Miaga?
And
yeah, Honorable Miaga, we didn't hear even the initial part since the greeting. So you can just go a little bit back and come and move forward, please. Honorable Cindy Siwe? Honorable Miaga, we can't hear you at all. Am I the only one, honorable members, who can hear her?
No, we all can hear you.
No, you're not the only one. She's muted. She must unmute.
Yes, that's true.
No. She's not. She's not muted. I think it's now she's muted. Unmute. Can someone call it? Okay, she is unmuted. Okay, you can proceed, but we can't hear you. Try some, yeah. Or maybe try to get a better connection. I don't know. We can't.
Chairperson.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Chairperson, it's Mandisa. I would like to suggest that she removes the headsets because I realized she's using headsets. Probably the headsets are the ones causing us for us not to hear her properly.
Okay, that's noted. Onomia, can you maybe take off the headsets and use your phone or something? You can switch off the video, it's okay. You can switch off your video.
Honorable Chair, let me just give her a call quickly. I'll let you know.
Okay, now she left. Okay, nevertheless, let's proceed. We'll come back to her because of time. Can we have Honorable McKenna?
Yes, our chair.
Okay, you can proceed. We know the challenge. Okay, proceed.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Thanks, Chairman and Honorable Commission Chair. My name is Ilhlogonolo Paho, and then I'll be speaking on Commission 3. The progress made by Gauteng Department of Education to address youth unemployment through skills development.
Wait a bit, Honorable Member. It says here on my itinerary that it's supposed to be Honorable Makena. Is that yourself?
Yes, it's Honorable Ilhlogonolo Makena, sir.
Oh, okay.
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 Okay, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson, there's no way we can address social and economic issues without improving the quality of education, skills development, and innovation. There is a huge gap between the education we get, both in basic or higher education, and skills required by employers. There are many reports that identify this gap as one of the reasons of low skills level among young people and high unemployment rate and high youth unemployment. The department is making interventions of building schools of specializations, which plays a huge role in closing this gap between skills provided in our schools and skills required by employers or to start a business. We support the decision by Gauteng Department of Education to place these schools of specialization in townships because that's where interventions are needed the most. We stand on a point of view that these interventions are only benefiting minority, therefore leaving majority of young people without much needed skills to be attractive to the economy. What we are acknowledging is the fact that these schools of specialization are paving the way to implement skills-based education instead of this current failing knowledge-based education. Instead of spending billions of rands to build school of specialization, which benefits minority, we need to completely shift from a knowledge-based education to a skills-based education. Then that's when the government will be able to close the skills gap. On point number 2, there's a lack of consistent career guidance, Honorable Chair, particularly from early age, primary school level. How do we expect young people to acquire skills or take advantage of skills development opportunities if themselves do not know which careers they want to pursue? Because one needs to first know which career he or she wants to pursue before he can start looking for skills or qualification needed to pursue that career. We therefore propose that Gauteng Department of Education to assign each school with a career counselor that will provide full-time career guidance and provide learners with up-to-date and reliable information about skills development, scholarship, bursary, learnership, job, and business opportunities available to them. On point number 3, there are other interventions that the Gauteng Department of Education have implemented, which are progressive, such as SEPO 1 million and Gauteng City Region Academy. But the question will be whether all young people are fully aware of these interventions. We believe that there's a lack of access to up-to-date and reliable information, particularly about skills and qualification required by employers. So we therefore propose that the Gauteng Department of Education should invest more in advertising skills development opportunities available for young people so that more young people can be aware of the skills development opportunities available to them, and they'll be able to take advantage if they're aware of these opportunities. That's my submission, Chairperson. Honorable Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Hlonolo. Thank you so much. I know that we had lost Honorable Miaka, but we will come back to her. We have noted that she was supposed to do the opening properly. Can I have Honorable Sindani to come in?
Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, let me begin with my presentation. Good morning to the House at large. Good morning, Chairperson, and salutations to the House at large. We'll be speaking about the role of the government of the Gauteng Department of Education in terms of addressing youth unemployment through skills development. So one of the conclusions that we have reached is that, number one, we have a very weak education system. Gauteng pass rate for 2019 was 87.2. The degree or entrance to university pass rate was 44.5. This means that we have less than half the matrics being eligible to go to varsity. This means that the majority of our learners are being failed by our education system. The bachelor's pass rate is an aggregate of 50% and above. Our education system, unfortunately, is not competitive on an international level. This is paramount because we currently live in a global economy, and it's of paramount importance that we be able to engage and engage on an international level, be able to compete with Europe, North America, and Asia as a whole. There is no correlation between commercial commercial education that learners receive in high school, TVET institutions, and even TVET institutions and business owners within our community. The township economy is dominated by foreign nationals. Traditional black CBD areas are controlled and dominated by foreign nationals. Black South Africans are under economic siege in their own backyards. There is little industries within the townships that can transfer skills and be skill incubators and absorb the large number of young unemployed youth. Township sports and cultural programs within schools are not as effective, efficient, and efficacious as we'd like them to be. There's no correlation and proper coordination between academic, sports, and cultural activities. There is no balance between the three. The green economy has been made unappealing to the youth and the various opportunities that it entails. TVET colleges are still stigmatized, their value and significance undervalued in the eyes of the youth and Black society at large. Lack of industrialization within the township and lack of diversity in terms of the enterprises that exist in the township continue to be a great impediment towards skill development. One of the proposals that we have is that government must learn from schools that are performing well within their respective communities and implement similar programs within schools that are not performing well, and ensure that there is a consistency in terms of performing, because we do not believe that one school can perform well within, let's say, for example, in Davidson and other schools not perform well. It means there's something that those other schools are not doing right, that that particular school is doing right, and we believe that they should learn from them and implement measures that will ensure that those schools progress properly. In terms of education, we promote or suggest that there needs to be school fundings needs not to be universal, but school fundings need to be based on a performance basis. There needs to be a standard fee that is given to schools by government, but schools that perform the most, they need to be rewarded and ensure that we instill a culture that basically appreciates a culture that's merit-based and a culture that's merit-based and rewards hard work in a nutshell. We also suggest that there needs to be tutorial companies that will work together with schools to improve the quality of education in terms of its input and its overall output. In terms of business, promote entrepreneurship within schools, have mentorship programs with proven businessmen and women and entrepreneurs within aspiring business learners and entrepreneurial-minded students. Have market days at schools to promote an active culture of entrepreneurship in schools. Market days lay the foundation for the culture of entrepreneurship, its practicalities, and expose young people to the varied skills needed to thrive in business. We believe in building relationship with institutions within our community that will mentor, teach, and give learners a first-hand insight on what it takes to run successful businesses within townships. Encourage learners to form we also believe in encouraging learners to form their own businesses, small businesses, and have annual funding opportunities for them. In terms of the green economy, expose young people to the various opportunities that are found in the green economy, the value that is to be found within the green economy, the overall importance of learners, especially Black learners, to learn about agriculture, food security, and the commercial aspects within that industry. In terms of the destigmatization of TVET colleges, we believe in hosting seminars that show the value of TVET colleges, invite successful graduates, employees, and entrepreneurs from who went to these TVET colleges. In terms of industrialization, why do we believe that it's significant? In the reindustrialization of the township will ensure of the township economy will stimulate production of goods, development, and the transfer of skills. It will help curb excessive consumerism because we'll be able to produce and sell things amongst ourselves. It will help in the establishment of new industries in the township. It will help in the refurbishment of existing industries, the development of other related industries. It will help absorbing young people that are gifted with their hands. It will help to open up and diversify the township economy. It will help to
Honorable Sindani, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Your time is up. I can see you are spirited on the matter. Thank you so much. Can we get Honorable Molopa, please?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Imagine if learning institutions actually help the youth identify their strengths by exploring their talents from a young age and growing their skills over 12 years instead of letting them follow the same routine like sheep, leaving them confused in life after school. Good day, honorable members. My name is Mokhadi Molopa from Lanseria Northern Farms, Ward 96. I rise to speak on the progress made by GDE to address youth unemployment through skills development. According to the Skills Development Act of 1998, it aims to improve the quality of workers and productivity, increase the levels of investment in education and training in the labor market, promote self-employment, and improve the delivery of services. The government heard the cry, hence they came up with the National Development Plan. This strategic plan is structured around 14 priority outcomes, one of which is skills development. The youth have been saying that we do not want handouts, we want a hand up. Thus, to achieve this strategic plan has come up with initiatives such as NYDA, TEPA 1 Million, Yes for Youth, CETAs, and Vuk'uzenzele, to name a few. However, the question lies, have young people benefited from the interventions towards skills development? The answer is no. The policies are there, the intervention strategy is there, but the implementation is poor. The reality is that state departments work in silos. The minority that have benefited from skills development and have succeeded do not come back to the community and plant a seed back. While the rest who are sitting with the skills in the community are unable to utilize those skills because of the competitive markets in that industry. To mitigate what I've mentioned, we would recommend the following. Dispense information through awareness campaigns, social media platforms, and traditional media, so that the youth knows what opportunities are there. Support local community NPOs with advocating the benefits of getting skilled with clear exit strategies and for employment and job creation. Workshop local community leaderships
to positively influence the youth within the community in order to create self-sustainable communities, thus improving service delivery. And lastly, skill youth not only on hard skills, but also on soft skills that can help them cope in society and in the labor force. It is important that we create skills development opportunities with an aim for impact and an intention for scaling to other regions so that no one is left behind. South Africa already has a high unemployment rate, of which the majority of it is the youth. In closing, I would like to commend organizations and small businesses like NCVT, Yes for Youth, Matoyana, Zamula, Umnoto, and Rema Hands of Compassion that are in my area and are playing a role in skilling the youth. These youth have benefited from soft skills such as life skills and hard skills such as digital literacy, business skills, as well as personal development. On that note, I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Molopa. Can we have Honorable Mlefe? Honorable Mlefe?
Greetings, sir. Greetings, Chair.
Greetings.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and greetings to all the honorable members. I will just simply touch bases on the last 2 points, the second last point of the third commission and the last point of the commission. It is evident that there is shortage of skilled workforce in South Africa. Thus the need for the skill development. The Skills Development Act was promulgated to develop skills of South African workforce. Through the Act, the Gauteng Provincial Government and the Gauteng Department of Education made provision with SETA, which simply play a role in addressing the imbalance of the skills development, and it has been providing skills for unemployed and unskilled labor in different sectors or the market. Through the department, through the National Skills Authority, we have through the National Skills Authority, SETA have managed to improve and be beneficial to young people who are unable to find employment and who are unemployed and that are struggling to find employment. And it has been promoting the self-employment and improving the employment prospect of the previous disadvantaged individual and the historical disadvantaged individuals. Furthermore, engaging with the last point, the provincial government should intermediate with the issues on the ground level, on the local level, and municipalities should make a provision to form or establish information hubs or centers that will ought to engage in skill audit and addressing issues affecting youth development in general. This will help or benefit the local or interprovincial level to fast track the performance of the programs, and it will able to hold hold accountable to every sector that has engaged in a specific mandate. The Department of Technology and the Department of Science Innovation should utilize the Department of Education structures to reach out and create awareness of the fourth industrial revolution. The basic education should introduce ICT skills that will enhance or produce the techno-wise generation that will simply provide a future with better solutions. As a young prospector who comes from Lesedi, or one of the sub-rural place in Gauteng, which has the largest irrigation in the provincial, I propose that the province should create or come up with a strategic plan specifically targeting the areas of agricultural sector. The rural areas have been inactive in the economy. It serves rural areas serves as a great potential to grow jobs for youth. It increased through pardon me, Chair and Honorable Ma'am, the rural development strategy plan that can increase through the reformed land tenure, farm service and support, and social services, mining social investment, and tourism at large. With all that the three commissions have been made, the Gauteng provincial government should form technical forces.
Honorable Molefe, your time is up. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We're moving into our open time again, guided by Rule 77.7.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair.
Okay, you know, it's better if you say, if you can tell your name.
Honorable Chair, Bitumela Lugoko.
David Plague, Honorable Chair.
Honorable No, don't do that. Don't do that. You are making it very difficult.
Sanelem Honorable Chair.
Okay.
David
Because
Plague, Honorable Chair.
Matebe Mambani, Honorable Chair.
Okay, Matebe.
David Plague, Honorable Chair.
All right, let me conclude.
Lerato Funeka, Honorable Chair.
No, I've got four. I've got four. I know you all want to speak to this. I'll start with Buitumelo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chilwani. I just want to talk about, if we're going to talk about skills development specifically, I would also like to propose that digitalization be at the center of skills development, especially when it comes to young people. There's a recognition that the role of digital technology will take center stage in the coming of years. And of course, this will cause innovation and disruption. If we are going to talk about
Honorable Bitumelo, wait. Honorable members, can you I've closed. Stop mentioning your names, please. Okay? Can we be in orderly and respect the session? Honorable Bitumelo, proceed. Can you unmute? Can you unmute yourself?
I apologize for that. Honorable, as I was saying, that at the center of skills development, there needs to be digitalization. We cannot stretch this enough, that digitalization will cause innovation and it will cause disruption. And the other countries will always be ahead because they are digitalized. So if we're going to teach young people who already have access to the internet, young people who already sit with internet, with their phones, with social media, then it is very crucial that with our skills development programs, with interventions by government, we have digitalization at the center of it. Young people go into businesses such as Uber or Uber-like businesses or Airbnb-like businesses, but they do not capitalize on digitalization. At a time of COVID-19 where there's so much social distancing, digitalization is at the center of businesses and of creating employment, especially for young people. So if we're going to talk skills development, let us also go ahead and speak about digitalization. Another quick point that I want to make is that there's a lot of skills that are scarce amongst young people. Again, I want to say we need to create incentive for young people to go into boiler making, into plumbing, into farming, for instance. They may not, society has taught us that these careers are not prestigious. They're not like being a doctor or being an accountant, but there is an influx when it comes to accountants. There's an influx when it comes to doctors. Let us encourage young people to go into these careers that are scarce one, and they are priority jobs, because in the country those jobs are available, but we don't have enough young people who can go into those specific positions. Thank you, Honorable Chilwani.
Thank you, Honorable Tubelo. Can I have Honorable Sanele?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I just want to touch on the NYDA. Is it fulfilling the needs of the mandate that it was created for? Alternatively, what vehicles can they use to support the youth? Firstly, like, they don't have programs that are supporting the youth. They need to create more programs. They need to be transparent in their application process. Another point I'd like to raise is currently in schools post-COVID-19, there were more and more girls that were reporting rape amongst their peers, and there are no laws that will support or guard them against that. And they still have to return to the same schools with the same scars, and they have to look, no one is being held accountable for those things. That's the point I was trying to make. Thank you, Chair.
Point of order, Chair.
Point of order. Who's that? Who called the point of order?
Honorable Lerato Funeka, Chair.
David Plaatje, sir.
Okay. I was going to ask you a rule, but it's fine. Let me give you an opportunity to say, Lerato, what is the point of order that you want to ask?
Thank you, Chair. I listened to my fellow colleague on a submission. I put it to the honorable members that government already has systems in place. We need to focus on already what is in existence and avoid duplication of programs that are overly not even meeting the needs of young people. Also, we need to check exactly what is it that is already offered for young women to ensure that as young people we take charge and we are in the forefront of knowing exactly what is it government that is doing in relation to safety of young women and safety as women at large. In that point, sir, I would like our honorable member to relook into the already activities that government is doing and other state agencies are taking part in ensuring the safety of young people within this world. And then we take it from there. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, it's not a point of order. In fact, you are out of order because you disrupted a nice process that has been taking place now, proceedings. You're on the speaking list, so you've already put your point across. So thank you so much, Honorable Lerato, but it's noted.
Thank you, Chair.
Can I have Honorable Matebe? And just before she comes in, she must, when you call a point of order, you only raise it when there's a point of disruption. There's a disruption in what an honorable member is doing. But you don't raise it when just on a comment. Okay? Honorable Matebe?
Yes, Chair. Hello, good day, honorable members. My name is Matebe Mampani, and I rise on the Rule 77.7. I rise on the role of GDE to addressing youth unemployment through skills development. Bachelor pass rate in 2019
was 44.5%, and that means we have less than half matriculants being eligible to go to varsity. As mentioned again earlier on, that there is lack of consistent career guidance. We cannot deny that our government provides free basic education. However, what is being done in terms of skills education? Is our youth employable post-matric, or do they have the necessary skills to become entrepreneurs? The GDE, with that said, we can suggest that the GDE can partner with local businesses to supplement the LO curriculum, where learners are encouraged from a young level to job shadow and learn entrepreneurship skills and other skills needed for one to become employable. So, also, market days, as mentioned by Honorable Sindan. This ensures that learners are able to acquire the necessary skills and that they gain the experience before they even study further and become specialists in their own respective fields. This will also help boost the township economy, which ultimately boosts the country's economy. With the proposed grade 9 exit level certificate, the GDE can work together with TVET colleges for vocational skills and online learning platforms such as Udemy, Show Academy, and Skillshare for IT and other 4IR skills to ensure that our country becomes competitive in this fourth industrial revolution. Also, the ICT implementation strategies should be introduced in public schools to ensure that learners gain the basic computer skills like Microsoft applications to ensure that to increase their chances of employability, which also relates to digitalization, as mentioned by Honorable Boitumelo. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Can I have Honorable Plaki? Honorable Plaki? Okay. Unmute.
I have an input, sir, on this topic, sir. My input is that when we look at South African youth now, there is a kind of youth that is left behind through all this COVID-19 and unemployment. This youth most of them, they turn to drugs and substance abuse. And therefore, most of the time, because we are running an organization called by Bikato Community Projects, of which we were dealing with them in terms of what skills can we provide for them, what made them to be on the streets. So most of them we found, because of now, due to this COVID-19 prior, then it's going to give them more stress, and then they're going to be on the streets. And then we found that the number is escalating for young people who are doing drugs because of the stress of COVID-19. So I'm saying the government should also give these young people that are on the streets and how to rehabilitate them back to the community and how to give them the skills they need. So Bikato Community Projects have them on board, and we are training them, we are rehabilitating them, giving them the skills. Like now we have, due to COVID-19, we are supposed to take some of them and train them for boiler making, electrical, and other issues. And other departments like welding. So I'm saying, let us also don't isolate or leave behind those people of which no one is advocating for them. So I'm saying, as a society and young people representing, let's represent all youth equal, not those who have the capacity to engage in such topics. Even them that are left behind in the streets, most of them, they have certificates in IT and whatever. So let us also think about them. So what we're doing for such people, young people, because most of them, because of stress, they opt for drugs, they opt for substance because of stress, and then for gender-based violence. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I decided to add Honorable Sizo. Can Honorable Sizo come in?
Thank you, Honorable Member. I rise on the point of Rule 77.7. Leadership, thank you so much for this opportunity. Skills transfer is a very important and a crucial tool to transform our society and young people in terms of skills. My input would be to the schools in the high schools and the primary schools. During the COVID-19, it is a challenge for teachers and learners to participate in school. Perhaps we should come up with a solution that can really address this issue. So I would ask the department to look into creating a smart an anti-COVID smart classroom technology that will allow students and teachers to communicate through online platforms. Such platforms that could be used can be chatbots, WhatsApp platforms, and as well the telecommunications departments should also participate in this. This includes the DTPS, it includes the organizations such as BBI Broadband Infraco, and then also SMMEs can also play in this space in terms of connecting communities and the schools and teachers through the different solutions that they have. Leader, once again, I'd also would like to also put the input of creating social programs that could also ensure that skills development becomes also a social program. So this meaning that in communities, we'd like to ask that let there be a social initiatives that speak to gender-based violence, but not only as a program, but also as a skills development program. I thank you. I submit.
Thank you so much. I think this topic, on members, you should have exhausted it. I know there was quite a number of hands. I can't take all of you. It's always like that in the spirit of cooperation and discipline. Can I take it back to? In fact, I'll take it back to Honorable Miyaka. Is she now sorted?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I don't know, am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you very much. I do wish to apologize for the earlier incident, but I greet you all, my honorable members and Honorable Chair. I thank you for the opportunity this morning. I would like to give an introduction, but I see my fellow honorable members have already continued without me, and I thank them for not wasting any time. But in closing, I will conclude by saying our educational system has failed, having to deal with students that have disabilities such as dyslexia and so forth. We need to start teaching and introducing technology from a fundamental stage in learning. The youth needs to be skilled and absorbed into work. They are in the work that they are being skilled in, that they are being trained in. The thing of the youth being taken into an organization and then after a certain period of time being told that the contract has been terminated. Because those people still go back to the communities and still don't know what to do with their times anymore. Companies wishing to open in our townships and regions need to first absorb the youth in the region before hiring from outside. Business introduce and organize whatever the government wishes to implement in order to help the youth needs to be implemented in all regions, not only one to test it out. If they are going to test out something, let them test it out in all the regions so that everyone is equal and given the same opportunity. Don't let it not just be just one region and saying, whereas then because they are more crowded or they have more people in a certain place. In the hospitality sector, we need to hire first South Africans before hiring foreign nationals because of the emotion of having less pay. If they are willing to hire people from outside or nationals from outside, it means that they have enough capacity to be able to pay our youth as well. If our youth is unskilled, then first skill and train our youth, and then going forward, you may hire up other people. This should be put into motion as a law. All initiatives brought forth by the department should begin in every region so that we are all equal. We move that all regions be provided with Wi-Fi so that all of our youth are able to have an equal experience to all opportunities and jobs and education. We moved that in grade 9 to pass as a part of the curriculum. We should include also learning about driving and being able to qualify for driver's license as a part of learning in the school. Also applying for ID documents so that in future, if we have the youth which also becomes school dropouts, they also have a skill in order to be able to find jobs as drivers and so forth. I thank you very much, my chair and fellow honorable members, and thank you, and I submit. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. Can I get a second for this report?
My name is Nokolo Twindi and I second the motion.
Okay, thank you. Can all those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Chairman.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Can all those all those who oppose it say no? Okay, the yes have it. Thank you so much. Thank you. We have come towards the end of our program today. Let me move to and welcome. Let me begin by welcoming the Honorable Chair of Committees, Honorable Nkosi Malobane. Can we give you an opportunity to give a vote of thanks? And then
Honorable Chair. Honorable
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
Rising on point of privilege.
Of privileges. Okay. Let me add this privilege.
My name is Honorable Mduduzi Mdlalose. Basically, I'm rising on the point that we need to make sure that these structures that are established, especially this one that we are in now, the Youth Parliament, becomes a fully fledged structure, not just a youth event, a once-off event which happens in June. I think we need to get this structure to be a fully fledged structure where young people will be able to deal with the issues that they've raised in this parliament and do follow-ups to make sure that agencies like NYDA, they are held accountable by the young people themselves. And this structure is functional and serves the purpose that is supposed to serve the young people of Gauteng. I thank you.
Okay, thank you, honorable member, and it's noted. It is a fair input, but it's not for debate. I don't want motivation on it. I agree with it. It makes sense. Now, honorable members, can I get the chair of committees, Honorable Nkosi Malobane?
Thank you very much, Chairperson Matume Chilwane, for running our youth parliament professionally. But I also need to be clarified whether I should address you as in youth and Dala, because you seem to be amongst your peers this afternoon. Thank you very much for the invite, and also thank you very much for recognizing me. Let me recognize the representative from the Office of the Premier, and also thank the Premier in absentia that he has actually indicated his interest in this particular gathering. I'll also like to thank and recognize the Deputy Chair of Chairpersons, Date Mpapa Kanyane, and also recognize you again, Chair, that the Honorable Member Matume Chilwane. I also like to recognize all the participants, particularly those who prepared for this event, who presented their speech. And some of the things that they said, I must say, we are learning as the legislatures. There are very good ideas that are coming from our young people, but also we are learning from them on how to conduct yourself if you are an honorable member. I think our young parliamentarians have shown us that when you are an honorable member representing millions of people in Gauteng and of course in the country, there's a certain manner in which you are supposed to behave. And thank you very much for being an exemplary to us as older parliamentarians. Let me also recognize, ladies and gentlemen, as well as our distinguished guests. I'm greatly privileged and humbly honored to have been asked to extend a vote of thanks on this historic occasion of the Youth Parliament 2020, held under a new normal, where we had to engage each other through visual means. But I think it found us ready. In South Africa, Africa, and the world are ready for Project 4IR. Shows that we can still continue our life, as well as our economy can still grow through using this particular means of communication. The very presence of honorable members of GPL, despite your busy schedule, is a reflection of the importance that you attach to the achievement of the youth sector parliament. I've already indicated that we have learned, or we are learning from you as youth sector. We are inspired by your leadership, the responses and deliberation that you ensued today. I would like to take this opportunity to express our thanks and gratitude to the task team from GPL who have tirelessly worked to make this event a success. I remain grateful to the chairperson Matume Chilwane for steering the oversight role of the committee in the correct path of execution of the plans to receive the resolutions of the Youth Parliament. We look forward to the resolutions being processed and delivered to the executive. And of course, not just being delivered, we're also looking forward to the implementation of the recommendation made by our young parliamentarians. As the GPL, we have recognized that this engagement assists in deepening relations with key sectors of communities, such as youth, in programs aimed at improving the quality of lives our people through legislative process with a view to radically transform, modernize, and industrialize Gauteng. Special thanks to the youth of 2020. We are humble. We are indeed inspired by your guidance, vision, and passion of youth issues. Finally, let me take this opportunity to thank you, the youth, for sharing with us the aspirations and frustrations faced by young people out there. When I see young people, at some point we were also young, but also hungry for their individual and collective success and the development of our country, I feel great anticipation. I see young people who responded to the clarion call by Ntate Moses Kotane. In his message to the youth of South Africa, Ntate Moses Kotane said, I quote, "At this hour of destiny, your country and your people need you. The future of South Africa is in your hands, and it will be what you make of it. So it's up to you. You break it or you build it." Let me then thank you, ladies and gentlemen. A very thanks goes to all for gracing this occasion. Thank you very much, Tete Matume, for giving me this opportunity. Ke a leboga.
Thank you so much, Chair of Chairs. Thank you. I think we are moving towards the end of our program. We're going to the resolutions. Is there a process towards it?
Through you, Chair. The resolution, because we're using this platform, they will be forwarded to you. We'll make sure that you get them before the end of today. And from there, you will really see how you take them through. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Deputy Chairperson of Committees. We have reached the end of our youth sector parliament, and I would want to say that I remember myself a few years back. I used to mobilize for this sector parliament. You know, I will not even sit. You are more privileged than me. You are sitting in the sector parliament. I used to try to mobilize, fill up the bus, so that young people can participate. So what I'm trying to say that after hearing some of you, I've realized that there's so much potential again, you know, that the country has and the province has. You know, you've really given us, some of us, hope that indeed the future seems quite bright. I think Honorable Malobane put it very well, that indeed your contributions, all of you were on par, were perfect. They talk to the key issues that are facing yourselves as the youth. And really you have a solution-oriented mindset over having a problem-oriented mindset, and which is a positive mindset. And that is what we really need in this era, in this time and hour, you know, as a nation, that we need to be positive. We need to come up with solutions. We need to move from a period where we want to receive, but from a period of creating solutions to a problem, seeing opportunities everywhere. We need to move to a period where we spend most of our time trying to resolve problems that are facing society and ourselves, as opposed to being part of the problem. And really hearing yourselves, I really did pick up that indeed we are on the right path, and you are on the right path. You just need to keep on it and remain positive that indeed you will correct a lot of problems that are facing our province. And indeed, even I learned a lot. I mean, you know, some of your contribution, I realized there were quite some critical points that one would have missed while we're doing our oversight work. And I was quite impressed to be reminded that there is this particular space. And I like one who was speaking, and he says we need to realize that what is the key problem? Are youth unemployable? Honorable Chair of Chairs, when you lift your hand, I account to Honorable Chair of Chairs. Honorable members, don't be surprised. So she's the boss.
No, thank you very much, Chair. You just reminded me of a very important, one of the good resolutions that young people have raised, the issue on how to manage the resolution or enforce the regulations of COVID. That it should not only be at the cemetery, it must be also at homes after the funeral. I think that one, Chair, may I request that that resolution or that recommendation should be immediately communicated to the Department of Community Safety as well as SAPS for immediate implementation, because it's one of the good and the best recommendations that are also coming from this particular session. I'm actually excited about that recommendation because it's something that we've been talking about, and I'm happy that young people are now putting it as a concrete resolution that need to be implemented, Chair. Thank you very much for just reminding me of this a good recommendation from young people. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. Yes, I think with what Chair of Chairs have said, indeed, we had an inspiring debate and very informative. I would want to thank you for that. And indeed, the Youth Sector Parliament must cease to be an event. I agree fully, it's not longer going to be an event. It needs to be an effective instrument, that assists the legislature in its execution of its core function and really assist government to address critical issues that are affecting the youth. You must remember that no one is a reservoir of knowledge. No one knows everything. No one has an answer for everything. And so you need to, these type of structures are critical to give us answers on issues that are affecting the very same structure. Because at some point it gets to a situation where there's an African proverb that you'll have where cats talking about the well-being of mice, and you don't want that type of a situation. A few years ago, there used to be this structure. There's a structure for people with disability. They used to say nothing about us without us. And I think it's quite pertinent that the Youth Sector Parliament upholds that particular slogan, that nothing about the youth without the youth. So with that said, we have reached the end of our Sector Parliament. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for coming through. We are learning every day. It's a new norm. We're using technology. That's why some were coming in and out. Even myself, I got kicked out by the system. But with time, technology, things will improve. And I think we need to get used to this type of working, because that's where the future is going anyway. So yes, the Parliament has come to an end and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. And also thank you to all our fellow members that are part of the discussion.
Thank you, fellow members.
Nothing for you.
Nothing for us without us.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day. Bye.
Bye.